There we go. Got the camera going and everybody's seeing. Okay, so if anyone gets started, we're going to go ahead and start in alphabetical order. Please, Anne Marie, I'll let you take the floor.
I didn't plan anything. I am Anne Marie Madden Irwin. I am Anne Marie. Only Jason Vargas gets to call me Anne. It's special. I live at 8013 Annalise, which is the first house on the left after the Cara Bridge. I did this because to be on the HOA, I'm only interested in the transition work. Home ownership it's our homes, and our homes are our major investments. Our houses have value. And one of the things we have to keep valuing more is water. We're in a drought. This is the coolest summer we will ever have again. I don't care how we get to these things, but you can drive through anywhere in Texas and notice it. We're dry and the leaves are crinkling and all this other stuff. We have leaves turning and they usually don't turn until December because we don't have as many. I'm a pollinator. Our backyard is full of wildflowers, Texas wildflowers. I want us to have a community that can have more flexibility in our front yards while still adhering to a code, a social code, a mutual code. Sometimes I have things that are growing and I'm told they're weeds and I'm like, yeah, no, they're not. They're blue flower grasses. And no, it's not. It's lavender that doesn't really want to thrive. And good Lord, how I can't pay for all this water. And I don't want to use this much water. I care about these things. I have never been a pool owner. I have been in the pool this year because my back's been out. And now I'm going overtime. I know. I'm sorry. I had an awful time with my back this year. So all my exercise has been in the pool. And I'm in better shape and I really like that. But I also got to know people in the pool. I usually have a blue hat on and sunglasses, or I have a Red Sox cap on, and I'm the one who talks to children. I like kids. But being at the pool with lots of people in it, I had to go, okay, Anne Marie, you're not the lifeguard. You're just here for exercise and everybody's got a groan. It's kind of weird. We have a community pool. We are community. I'm doing this because I'm part of a community. I am Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. It's who I am. And I don't want this forever. I'm not looking to be on the board forever. I really want to be part of the transition. I want to be the person in the neighborhood you go to. And I think anybody here, I mean, you can do this to Nessa and you can do this to, oh, speaking of pools. Oh, at the pool, sorry. I learned, we pay an HOA fee of $40. I started to learn how many other places pay way more HOA. And that even just to own a pool in your backyard is going to cost you more than $40 a month to keep it up. So, water. We are a community. We need to stay cool. I'd like us. And in my last 30 minutes, did everybody or anybody get the Travis County notice that the floodplain for Cottonmouth Creek in our neighborhood is changing? The floodplain is changing. We got notification in the mail and my husband's looking some of the stuff up. What it made me go to is like, honey, what covers us for flood insurance? I don't know what that does to our values. And the other thing it made me think of is not so much where I am, the people who are downstream from the Cara Bridge. Like, Leon, thank you very much for my disconnected talk. And any one of us on here would do a good job. So, I might vote for Vanessa.
Hello, my name is Clint Lucio. I live on Bonneville Bend. Some of you may know me from next door as the guy with a weird captain's hat on. I'm always posting on there. My main reason for running today is I was a little concerned with American Homes taking up too many spots on the board, but I'm glad you guys are running because hopefully that will not happen even if I don't get elected. I'll be happy either way. I'd have to be the first to say I'm kind of middle of the road when it comes to HOA. I'm not a big fan, but I do understand it serves a purpose. I probably won't need the full 5 minutes, by the way. And first thing I'd like to do if elected was I'd really like to look into our contract with CTR and maybe either renegotiate or find another vendor. Because I don't know about you guys, when I first came here, I think it was like $80 a month, and now it's slowly gone up to like 130. So like 138 is what I think what we're paying now. Yeah. So like I said, that was my main concern is for running is, like I said, American Homes getting control of the board. But like I said, looks like all us neighbors are concerned about what's going to happen next. Okay, that's all I got.
I actually wrote a little something down just to make sure I said a few things. Hi, all. I'm Dana Santos. I'm super excited to be here and have the opportunity to introduce myself to you today. I live in Austin and Addison South, and I've been here for the past year. And the moment I moved here, I fell in love with the community, the character, and just all of the friendly faces that we see, walking down the streets. And I'm here today really just simply because I care about Addison and our community, and I want to ensure that it stays this awesome place that it is today for our future. And so to share a little bit about like the details and like about me, I firmly believe in maintaining a delicate balance between preserving our community's unique vibes and being fiscally responsible. So a little bit about my experience. I have a background as a product management leader, which basically means I know how to run things like a well-oiled machine. I've managed budgets, made tough decisions. I've learned the art of finding the sweet spot between cost and quality. So that's really what I bring to the table. But I'm not just about the numbers and the budgets. I'm all about the people. My job has taught me the value of listening to customers, understanding their needs, and delivering exceptional experiences. And I firmly believe that this is the skill set required of a board member. Listening to all of you, working together to make your voices heard, and making sure that all of our needs are met. So let's connect, let's exchange ideas, let's chat, and let's work together to keep Addison the wonderful community that it is today, and a place that we continue to be proud to call home.
I'm not quite sure how the alphabetical order part of this really works, but all I know is they've got my nameplate up here. So as you all can see, my name is Leon Rogers. And I've had the pleasure, good pleasure, frankly, of living in this neighborhood since the 1st of July in 2018. I moved into my home, which is at 5517 Gooding Drive. And for those of you who know where the pool is, you'll know where my house is because you either drive by it if you go down Gooding or you walk by it if you happen to be walking from anywhere else at the north side. I'm not sure what are in those documents. Angie asked me to put together a little bit of a bio, so there might be some stuff in there that talks about like what I've done and things like that. I'm going to share some things that are not on that piece of paper that now I see that some people that I recognize have already heard some of this. Well, it'll make a lot of sense as to why I'm up here tonight. First of all, I'm a retired professional musician. I've had my very first band when I was 16. I was touring the US and Canada when I was 18. I've had the good pleasure of having my boots on the ground in 44 of the lower 48. I've been in all 10 Canadian provinces and 2 of the territories. I've also was smart enough to realize at an early age, I was never going to be an A-list player. I just wasn't, right? I wasn't going to be Bon Jovi. I was never going to be even Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. I was just never going to make that. So I put myself through college and I've got a degree in electrical engineering. So in concert with being a professional musician my entire life until I retired from live music when I moved down here, I've always had customer facing roles most of the time in technology. Okay. As I did say in the little bio, the company that I presently work for has been in business since 1951, supplying services to local governments. And so I've had the good pleasure over the course of my career while I worked for Municode to go to city council meetings, county commission meetings in multiple states. And some of them I've attended in person, some have been virtual. The point is that I've seen how business is conducted at a proper meeting level. My particular area of expertise in this company is that I am the national product specialist for an agenda management software that helps local clerks be able to build agendas and take care of all of the meeting related documents and processes that they have to do, required by law in all 50 states to do. And so that's a little additional background on me, and I'm happy to answer questions at any point. You can throw up your hand. I don't mind being interrupted, and as you can tell, I'm used to talking. But let's get right to the crux of the matter. I don't know well any of these other people. I can't speak about their character. I don't know anything about them other than the fact that Anne Marie and I spent a few hours swimming in the pool together. But one thing I can tell you is they're not sitting in these seats because they're looking to get rich. This job, folks, doesn't pay a cent. It's not going to pay me a cent. It's not going to reimburse us. We're doing this, each and every one of us, because of some affiliation that we have for the community and what we would like to be a part of with respect to governing the community. Now, the board is in the process of transition, as already been mentioned by Anne Marie. And at some point, the president declarant, which is Karma Properties, will no longer appoint board members as they have done up to this point. And we as members will elect our own governing body. So I will finish this up really quick, because the primary thing that I would like to accomplish if I were chosen by you folks is to do a thorough review of our master covenant document and all of the rules that govern the HOA. Personally, I find some of the rules completely abhorrent. I think that they're onerous, and I don't mind saying they're patently absurd. One of which is that you cannot bring a trailer into this community of any kind without getting prior board approval. Sir, let's say that you wanted to move some furniture out of your house, so you went to U-Haul to get a utility trailer to put behind your pickup. You cannot do that without violating the rules. There is another rule that says you can't wash your car in your own driveway. That is patently absurd. And I would like to be your voice, and I will represent you. So if you guys vote me, you're not going to vote a yes man. I promise you that. As a matter of fact, the rest of the board probably won't care a whole lot for me, but I will be your voice, and I'll do what I feel that I'm getting input from you folks. So, and my door is always open. I'm easy to get to. I live by myself, no dogs, no guns, no kids. So come by anytime.
Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Norton. We moved into Addison Communities 3.5 years ago. It was right about the time everything got super interesting in the world. Moved into Austin in 2019, rented an apartment with the intent of shopping for a house while we lived in that apartment. When we first started out shopping, it was not great. I had high expectations. We did tour a few houses in Addison community, and it worked out great. We made a deal with the property owners there on Daimler, and I can say I've honestly been very happy ever since. Immediately made friends with the neighbors and a few other people in town. I enjoy walking our dogs around the community and smiling at everybody. I even get a kick out every time we go to the mailbox and you see the donation box of books. I personally have not used that more. I wish, everyone wishes they would read more, but just the fact that it's there makes me smile. Professionally, you'll read in my bio, I'm a construction manager. And what that entails is that I was both project management and site superintendent. I've done both. Currently, my paycheck says that I am a site superintendent, but I like to take to the next step because I just don't sit outside and follow this particular document, this rule. And I also don't sit inside and just answer emails. Really the care and the importance of the building and the project and my team is where I thrive, and I'll go outside the boundaries of my own role to make sure that we hit every piece, right? And that's kind of the way I've been all my life. When I was growing up, I did the very small farm town route, 4-H, FFA, all that. Naturally gravitated towards any leadership role that I could find, whether it be because of maturity or confidence or just personality and enjoying everybody. It doesn't matter, but that's just where my path grew. Got into college, same thing. Immediately joined social society. It was a fraternity at the time. I thought it was just, you know, hey, you can do what they do in the movies. But that quickly turned into actually, I had a fondness for the way that people like to join together. Next thing I know, I was running for office and was vice president of all the fraternities and sororities on my campus. Had a great time. Seems like that was, I think it was 10 years ago now, but that really pushed me and thrived me into my profession. What I do now, yes, I build buildings in downtown. We get taller every day. I basically work with people. I go outside. I am the middle person between the design team and who actually is working. We have problems. We have successes. We celebrate on the good parts. We work through the hard parts, and we push forward to succeed. For what you might see out of me, that's a quality that will work good in this position, other than just working with people, is the parts that I've been a part. I mean, like I said, I did project management, so I've done everything from design and budgeting, financial planning, all the way to just aggravated and working with the elevator guy because we had a plan and that truck should have been here at this time because there are other people that you are impacting, right? And trying to work through that. I've been told numerous times that I'm the person to go to on site because I employ the rule of you can attract more flies with honey than you can with anger. And so I try and be very level-headed, very fair to everybody, but we all do have a goal in mind. And so in this particular situation, I'm here in hopes that I can be a representative for the residents of Addison. I think that with my personality, my goals, I want everyone to enjoy living here. I want to maintain what we have, grasp back a little bit of the beauty of the area, and make sure that everyone enjoys living there. I want everyone I see to smile when we walk by. I want to sit at the pool and have a good time. Thank you, man. I really do. Leon said it and everyone else said it too. When the email came across, I didn't take it lightly. I was a little surprised. I had not quite grasped the importance of it being the first homeowner position on the board. I realized that when I got Angie's email here not too long ago. Prior to that, I just wanted to be a part. But now, I mean, I showed up. I want to be here. I want you guys to want somebody that feels important in the community. And I really hope that I can do something for you guys and be open and friendly. So appreciate it.
Hello, I'm super nervous. Public speaking is not my forte. My name is Vanessa. I'm married to Jason Vargas. A lot of people know him. He's always outside in the driveway running around. I have 2 sons, Christian and Matthew. We have a little dog. We have lived in Addison since 2016. Fun fact, we love Addison so much that we were actually renting first, and in 2021, when the owner tried to sell the house, and I thought we were going to leave. And one night I just had an epiphany and I was like, I love this neighborhood so much, and I love the people and I love the area. And we decided to buy the house and we stayed there. So yeah, we've been here since pretty much the beginning. So we know a lot of faces, and I see a lot of new faces. The reason why I want to run for this, because I feel like I bring a unique set of skills. I actually work for a real estate company who's also a HOA property management company. I work there as a resale transaction and account coordinator. So I work with every new homeowner. We have a portfolio of over 200 communities. So that's literally tens of thousands of houses that we manage in the Austin area. So every new homeowner that comes in, I'm the front row person. I do a lot of things without getting all into it. I am constantly every day reading CC&Rs. I read bylaws. I'm extracting, I'm interpreting, I'm pulling out all the important information to make sure that we are, as the HOA managers and our company is running that HOA the way we're supposed to legally and abiding by all the CC&Rs. So it's kind of boring, so I read a lot of them, and that's kind of what I want to do for us. I want to make sure that we are doing everything by the book. Anything that we don't like, I know how to change it. I know how, got to get it recorded, got to get it amended. And so that's kind of what I want to do. I want to be that liaison between the homeowners and the management company and help people understand what it takes to run an HOA, what's involved with it, where your dues go. I see a lot of times on Nextdoor, people are always complaining about, well, we pay all this money, where does it go? There's a lot that goes into running an HOA that people are not aware of. So I kind of want to be that person to help people understand the processes, how violations work, how they accumulate, how they go up in a process, how you get fined. Prior to working for the HOA management, I actually worked for a third-party collections firm. So that is where the HOA management company would send your account to a law firm and we would foreclose on your home for not paying your dues. So I have a lot of knowledge about that as well, how to keep your house out of that situation, not to get foreclosed on, and how to get out of it. I think that would be also very helpful for people to understand. And I also I know there's a lot of things that we can do to enhance the community. So I really want to help change some of those things and make some of the people that, aren't too happy with the way things are, make it a little bit better. And yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, but we had everybody, thank you for taking the time and going on there. We missed Scott. He was actually traveling. He said he would be here, maybe not, but you do have some information on him in the packets that we received. We will also be sending that. I will all be sending that on Monday to the community, just for those who virtually or anybody else who have them in case of anybody else wants for the elections. We will announce all those details as they come through, when the elections comes through and everybody's able to vote. The next few minutes, we're going to hang around for questions coming from the audience to your candidates, if there's any specific ones. We have not finalized the final date. I will send that out as soon as I have all that. I'm sorry?
How long is our
1 year, it starts off. No, are you asking? It will be determined depending on the size that you guys have. So normally it's by ballots, either mailing it in, emailing it in, counting the votes like normal we would do on oaths, but there's options all if you do it electronically, depending on the size of the community. So again, we were finalizing all those details as soon as I have them, and you guys will be the first ones to be able to vote. Electronic's a lot faster and be able to gather, but we'll determine that. No, I'm saying with the size of the community, it could be electronically because it's faster to accumulate, email them, and people get all the steps. No, it's totally fine. Like I said, with the size. Right, that's what I'm saying. More than likely, it'll be because of the size, rather than sitting here count. Right.
So how many seats are you voting for?
One for today, just one. There's a 3-board term per your documents.
Until the board until the development completely transitions out of the community, and at that time, then all of the states will actually be voted on in the place at that time.
And nobody from the government it's all board. It's all fields.
I actually have a question about this. I asked Angie and she was so busy, she didn't get a chance to find an answer. The current 4 board members, there's a president, a vice president, a secretary, and a treasurer. So we have 4 directors that run the HOA, but they're also the 4 officers. And the question was unanswered as of the last time she and I tried to connect was the position that one of us will hold, are we also then going to be expected to do the role of an officer? Right? Because according to our master document, those 4 officers must exist. Now, it did say, because I reread all of these documents, I cannot tell you how many times over this last few days, in the event people ask questions about it. But the position of secretary and treasurer can be one person, but the president, vice president have to be individual people. Does that make sense? What is unclear is whether or not one of us will then become whoever is vacated. I'm assuming it's not going to be Matthew Chase, the president. I assume we would walk in and be the president, right out of the gate.
That is Matt Chang.
So we'll, once that person is voted on, whoever's voted on the board, we'll have a discussion with them as a board. You want to take on one of those positions as an officer. Typically in transitions like this, I like to name the president or vice president of the association. But we can do it either way. It's really, what is it, dealer's choice? It's fine. Because like you said, we can have 3 members and that secretary and treasurer could be the same person. We did 4 members. I forget why. The training thing. We did 4 members. So we added an additional person onto the board just to make sure we had something from each department sitting on the board. We do that in all the community. It was not, Addison wasn't like a test case or anything. We do that everywhere. Yeah, it's dealer's choice, whatever that individual wants to do.
Well, I'm really glad that you're here because there's some things that I would like clarified. According to the master documents, it says that there'll be an annual board meeting. It makes it sound like there's only going to be 1 per year, but there has to be, I would think, special meetings called along the way. Can you give me some, because I'm trying to figure out what I'm signing up for here, okay? Can you give me a best guess of the number of meetings that you would expect us as directors to attend in the course of the year?
During the development period, 99% things electronic. The board only meets for 4 or 5 specific reasons. Foreclosing on somebody's home, increasing assessments, changing rules, and amendments to the documents that aren't just NOA, sections of it. I was forgetting if it must not be that important. Why don't be very important? But no, those are the only 5 reasons during the development period. Again, dealer's choice. If the resident who comes on board is insistent on having more having more meetings, we'll have a discussion about that. Obviously, I like to have more like balance for myself and for those folks that sit on the board. And those folks sit on multiple boards. I personally sit on 22 boards. So that's my job all over the state. So that's what I do. But I have other folks that sit on multiple boards, so we try not to bog down everybody with any meetings. But once a quarter, I would say at a maximum is what we have. Like a town hall, I asked that board members show up to the town hall. You don't have to say anything during the town halls. And then the annual meeting is not an annual board meeting. It's the annual members meeting. Right. Is what you have to have every year. And that's when we move forward, the transition. Once the transition occurs, that annual member meeting is where you're doing your elections.
But can we have them in our own neighborhood?
Can you have what?
The meetings. The meetings?
Yeah, we were expecting a much bigger crowd.
Right.
We were expecting.
And it's us. We can fit in that room and put a speaker up on the pool and have somebody sitting in it and
I don't think everybody wants to sit outside and for these meetings in conditioned space, but happy to do it on site. Like I said, when I said this at the last meeting, as long as around Eastern Park, Addison as a board, the Addison board can use this meeting for the board meetings. They can use this meeting room for the annual meetings. It'll probably continue because it's actually in our rules for the parks and for rentals and nonprofits have the ability to use facilities in this department.
Is our HOA paying a rental fee for this room?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So to answer your question,
Do you think the 4 people on the board currently, are you guys probably are more than likely looking at the vice president position for one of these candidates?
yeah, like that's typical.
That's typical. Okay. No, I like that. I mean,
Alfred's fan, like everybody else has a choice, but
I get it. No, that's actually encouraging. I would bring that on. So.
Yeah, we don't, this is, again, it's a transition, so we want that person to be in a higher level position. And our hope is that whoever does this continues on through the transition. And so that there's always that, that backup of information, moving forward.
Appreciate it.
I have a question for you, since you're here. When you leave, when your company leaves and we take over or whoever takes over the homeowners association, you usually see that these go up when you're not, if I think you're subsidizing.
Yeah, we're subsidizing, but we're subsidizing, reserves right now.
Okay.
I think this year's budget will get you to a point where you're self-sufficient. Without that, when we do the budget meeting will probably be this board member's first meeting. I think we'll be that election, the election will happen in time for that to happen. I think I'm kicking in a certain number and it's just for reserves, that's it. It's not covering our going expenses. So as a developer, I'm kicking in some money to boost the reserves. So yeah, you guys will be in a really good spot. And I'm not saying your assessments are going up 30%. That's not what I'm saying. I said this last year, I said this every year, everywhere expect, 2 to 5%, especially the last couple of years with inflation, with the cost of everything going up. But I don't think we're probably right around that number. It's not over 5%. Yeah, you're set. Yeah. You shouldn't have to drop assessments and you shouldn't have to skyrocket assessments.
Vanessa, do you have experience talking about watching the rates go up after it's all?
Yes, I'm very well versed with budgets. You don't need to the board members would be the ones to increase the budget or increase the dues if they feel like if we didn't have enough in the reserves and and our budget doesn't allow for us to pay our expenses, then the board would sit down together and we would decide how much we want to increase the dues. And usually the bylaws will, has a cap, so you can only increase the dues by 3% or by 5%. So we can't come in, us three decide that we're gonna go up by 25%.
The road got damaged by something.
So then
If we could do a special assessment.
So the CCNRs usually, there's a whole section about special assessments, and if we didn't have enough money in the reserves or in our budget, then we would assess a special assessment. But I will say, in my experience, that a lot of HOAs never have special assessment. It's usually with condos. So I wouldn't agree too much about any special assessments. As long as we're financially stable and we're having very healthy reserves, it'll be okay.
And that's what the board.
But usually the dues do gradually increase over time to go with inflation, to be able to pay for our expenses.
And that's what whoever's elected is going to let you make sure we're covered.
So let's say our newly elected board member proposed changes to the bylaws. Is that up or down voted by just the board member body? Or is that put to a referendum to the homeowners? And is there a
It'll depend on what wants to be changed, but it'll be a board decision, including the new board member.
So, that's not correct. If it's an amendment to the guide to the documents, then that is voted on by y'all. It's up to the board to bring that to vote. But, so the board doesn't have, the board can say, we don't want any revisions, and we're not going to bring these out, and that's when you let new board members, right? But if the board wants to make revisions to your documents, then yes. If it's a policy, like a new policy, then no, that's different. Then
Right.
it's just the board makes that and we'll report that to your county. So part of this board member, what I'm going to ask the board member to do is to reach out to all us residents and say, is there anything we want to change? There's maybe specific rules that we want to get done. What's great is as a developer, before I turn this community over, I can write just sign one piece of paper that changes everything. Where instead of you guys having to get a vote and have certain X number of percentage of, it's probably 50+1, 67% of the community has to vote. Is that in favor?
No.
Okay, so it's 50+1 have to vote in favor, 60, but of that 66% of the entire community needs to vote. So as a developer, if the community is like, hey, these are the things we want changed for sure, I can go in and make this changes, sign a document, and you're good to go forward. And then, like I said, policies are right down at the board level.
But to clarify, we have to have 67% participation by everyone in our community in order to get that passed.
Yes.
So I guess my question is everyone here is what would you do to make sure that we have that participation if we're really trying to make some real changes?
Not as minorities.
Well, I mean, knocking on doors is one thing, but obviously no one can make it to this meeting, right? So people have lives, we all have things going on, even Scott couldn't make it, right? So what do we do with the technology that we have and what kind of things we propose to make sure that we can get things passed?
And I don't disagree. Apathy is gonna be a big struggle, and it will be. I've got a lot of apathy. How can we as a, I know. How can we as a community increase the desire to be involved across the board? I don't know that answer yet. I wish I had an answer for you. I was first hit the button and I said, let's go. And to your point, Anne Marie, I mean, we can knock on doors all day. I would really like to put that question out to the rest of you guys, especially the ones that are here today. Appreciate you coming. Is that how can we reach out to the community? Because I feel like, I don't know if it's the aesthetics of every house in the neighborhood or if it's how we present ourselves, but I want to increase that crowd of this neighborhood, right? And I want to actually care. And the first step is getting Matt and their crew to move on, let us be self-governed. But we are going to have to push. We are going to have to push to do so. If you know, we
question back to that. How do you want to hear from? How would you want to hear from us?
Well, I like your background for blockchain technology. I was a project manager for a while and then solutions architect. So how do you ask the pain points of the people, right? So as a community, we're all here because these are investments. We're all here for different reasons. We all want to see different things. I may want to buy a pool someday. Someone might not want to, right? So how do we get it out there and say, hey, how do we get everyone to start putting everything in a parking lot and saying, what do you guys want to see change, get people excited, right?
Yeah.
And how do we communicate that effectively where everyone will participate? And we think a lot of things.
That's just human, part of what you're talking about is human behavior. It doesn't matter the delivery system. And reaching past apathy for voting for anything in this country is nearly impossible.
Matt,
Yeah, I am the old lady in the car that waves to every neighbor. I talk to every kid. I talk to pit bulls. But that's just my, no.
I can tell you how we do it. At my company, you push it on every platform that you can. You push it on the, our management company, we have a platform that every HOA is allowed to get on when we sign them on contract. Our HOA managers, they are out there and they're pushing, their email blasts into all the homeowners. And one of our jobs is to make sure that we have an email address for every single person and that we have mailing addresses, alternate mailing addresses. A lot of people don't take their mail at their property, so we have to have that information on file. And then we constantly just blow them up with email blasts weekly when we have a meeting coming up, and we express to them that you have to be here for this. You have to attend. If you care about your neighborhood and you care about making changes and you're complaining on next door, then you need to attend. That's the only way to get your 67%. And if we don't, we leave the meeting and we don't even conduct it. And then they go back and complain. So you gotta use next door, use your management company's platform. And that's the best, that's honestly the best we can do. If you want to take it a step further by going and knocking on doors, when passing out flyers, you can do that, or put it at the mailboxes, and then all you can do is hope that they come from that.
Matt, you seem to be a plethora of information in regards to this. Is every piece, is every level of change voted on the same way, 67%? Or are there tiers? Because I've been a part of committees before where there were tiers depending on the severity of what we're changing. And it would be 67% of the community, 67% of the people present, and depending on how severe the item was.
Yeah. Did they change them? That's not.
I guess what I'm getting at is that there might be things we're already empowered to do that just requires 2/3 of this room or a majority of this room, as the people are concerned, that we can start to push. Now, obviously, when you get into changing bylaws, which I've rewrote them for committees before, and you have to be very versed. But there are things that we can do and to try and push and change, maybe because we don't have the apathy community. Maybe we need to relax the voting procedure to make some changes because you guys are concerned. And if the other people that don't want to be here start to get concerned, then maybe they'll start to show up. And I hate to be a little bit, kind of a little rude, but at the same time, we want to make changes and we can't be held up and or blocked with the brakes on because some people won't be here.
Decisions are made by those who show up.
Correct. And so I don't want to change the world tomorrow. I'm here to protect our interests as a community. And if it takes a little bit of pressure to make sure that the people that want to be heard are heard, we will do so.
Also, there are tools, like you have product background too, to get it. There are tools for managing ideas. Sometimes you just need to be able to put things like front and center so people can clearly see what other people are interested in. There's super simple tools that you can like put out there and just allow somebody to submit an idea, right? And then everybody can see that. We can keep it anonymous if we don't want people's names associated to it. And then you can vote on it. You can set up like those, and you can start to see like whose ideas and concerns and things like that are coming to like the top of this, or coming to the surface. And it's a pretty self-managed kind of thing. And you can use some simple things like that to try to help us get together. Like, and then it's not like me or somebody else on the board who's saying like, hey, this is what's important to everybody. It's actually what the community is voting on. So those are definitely things that I am more than happy to dig into and figure out for us if that's something that would allow us to be more like present while not being anywhere physically.
So I was just asking you to, because I know some discussion in the legislature about requiring a certain percentage. So that we can't just change it. I would say the first thing you do is ask me to change that from 67% to something else. That would be the first step. And then the second is all the ideas and things are essentially, those things you can do. And I was just actually asking Tef what our election threshold is. So she's going to look it up. We're not sure if it's also 67 or 10, because I'm voting as well. So you all know, I'll let you all know you all got my vote, because I'll vote equally, because I want residents to decide this election, not me. So I'm voting just to make sure that we have a quorum. But whatever she tells me what that quorum number is the number that I'll vote for. I'm hoping not to. I'm hoping she calls me and says, hey, Matt, we got a quorum, and say, okay, cool, I don't have to vote. But if you call me and says, hey, Matt, elections close, ballots close in 10 minutes, can you send me an email with your votes? Then, so that'll be a very big indicator of whether or not it's happening with it. I'm just not voting.
Historically, we've not had very great turnout in some of that. I guess I'm not familiar myself.
We've never voted.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and to kind of your question as far as the percentages of the top line, it's not, it's depending on what you're actually voting on, whether it's an election, whether it's an amendment to a document, whether it's completely just bringing in a rule, it can all fluctuate. And it's really truly all defined inside your documents to determine what would be required. Special meeting form is going to be different versus, your membership meeting election. So it's all a little bit different, but to say across the board, I can guarantee you it's not 67% across the board.
Okay, and that's what I expected. I was just looking for confirmation. I appreciate it. I've had to navigate those different forms before, and I'm hoping that they're more in our favor for the concerned people. We'll let's see. It's been a while since I've read them. I read them all when I moved in. I was very passionate at that point in time. Since then, I've just been kind of living in the community and enjoying it. But that's why I'm here. I want to get back involved, and I'm once again excited about the idea that the board is already looking at the whoever's like this position go straight to VP. It's exciting.
That question.
Yeah, Madden, your experience, what are the three biggest mistakes a new neighborhood board makes? During the transition specifically.
Wow. So in Texas.
In general.
Well, see, and so you can shoot me later. I'm a California boy, right? So California, there's a lot of laws around choice. How you can spend money, reserves, things like that. There's a lot of restrictions. Texas, it's not there. It's getting in it. And as much as as a developer, I don't like the rules, and also puts us in, because it's guide rails, so we know exactly where to go. And it gives, when I turn over community, I don't have to worry about, okay, I handed you a check for $250,000 for your reserves. Are you gonna use it for your reserves? And then find out later that they replaced a whole bunch of trees and somebody wanted an extra garden up in the front and new flowers and a flagpole, and that has happened in Texas because I handed them the check for reserves and they went and spent it on something else.
How do we prevent that from happening? Signatures on the check.
Electing the right person.
Yeah, it's making sure your board is responsible with your reserve funds, making sure your board is spending it on things that should be reserve study, not special credit projects that they want to do. So that's number one, is spending the money incorrectly. Number two is making drastic changes to your assessment structure, right? It's going way overboard on either cutting assessments or going way over on increasing assessments. And I will say that the third item, Jeff, what do you think?
Not really. The board not coming in and truly understanding what is in place. That's your contracts, your vendors, really kind of analyzing everything that is in place. I think and some is trusting the process as you should for the most part, but also reviewing those contracts and making sure that what the community wants, if your landscape contract includes everything, or if you want to increase janitorial services or your pool vendor, things like that, I would say is probably a top one also.
Yeah, so I agree with her on that. I was gonna say more firing vendors just to fire them.
So more than one of the three, you alluded to being patient, taking the time to learn why things are in place, rather than day one having emotional reactions that don't correctly.
Yeah.
Got it.
They can make themselves manage. A lot of works will fire the management company. They can think, oh, we can handle it themselves. Oh, we know what we want for our community. We know what's right. And they'll find out real quick that you cannot manage an entire HOA by yourself. You really do need to keep it by management and then the board. But you have to remember that the management company can't do anything without the board per se. So everything that you hire, they work for us, not the vice versa. So yeah, I can go on and on. That's one of the biggest things. The second thing is budgeting correctly. And things you can change every second. It's not as easy, like you can't go and change bylaws like this. It's also costly. You do have to pay the lawyer to review it and change it, write it up, draft it, report it. So if we're gonna change things, we gotta make sure we do everything at once. And that's something very important. All these little minor things, we don't change it. It's written already and it's written well. Whoever wrote our CCN notice have probably written hundreds, if not thousands of CCN notices. So we can't go in thinking that we're smarter than our CCN notice.
Sorry. Question.
I have a question, then, because this is something I don't necessarily fully understand. It's my understanding that a large amount of Addison South is rental property. How does that fit into homeowners? I mean, if the company that's got a bunch of stuff that they're renting, do they have a seat on?
So I'll be happy, okay, so I want to keep it in the realm of the election, or for the election, it's not.
So my question is.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah, exactly, that very last thing makes sense, I'll go ahead and answer it because of it. So they have a right, and we're making changes to the documents, they have a right to have one board if they choose, but that one board member has to be elected. So, apathy is a big problem if American Homes for Rent is no longer voting for the board. Right? Because they vote very quickly, it's 600-ish, 400-ish units. And, you know, they can easily do that vote. So what I did is went in to protect you guys and make sure they can vote. And it's not only American Homes for Rent. So if somebody owns 5 homes, that person can own them. So yeah, they're essentially running against each other. American Homes for Rent, maybe that guy that owns, you know, 5 homes.
If we rent our house out, we are the owners.
Yeah.
And that's a private deal, but I was just The idea of the.
Yeah, for commercial, we specifically said it's a commercial entity that owns, because again, in Addison, someone can come in and buy 5 homes as a company. And you know, American Homes Group cut their teeth on really on buying distressed properties 5 or 6 at a time in the neighborhood and then, you know, improving them and renting them back out. Especially during the downturn, that's essentially what started the business is the economic downturn, all the foreclosures. And some doctors and went bought a whole bunch of distressed properties and that's what started American Homes Group.
I like that topic and love to know more, but yeah, it's direct things back to your business. I like the question asked, that's a great question, and understanding that there are things that you have to be cognizant of as you come in, but also knowing that there's things you want to change. From your perspective, what is one thing you want to change and how would you go about doing it?
So if we can start left to right to answer that question, yeah, I think that's a great one for everybody.
Start with this.
Yeah, we can start.
I'm going to, what was it?
So, understanding that there are things to be cognizant of, that you don't want to rush into things, jump the gun.
I'm slow, I think, my answer to that is, yeah, I could want things, but it doesn't mean what I want is the best thing for the entire neighborhood. I do not want to see things get more expensive because I like the fact that Addison is affordable for Boston. There's a lot of first-time homeowners and stuff like that's really important to me. So I could want anything, but if it's not good for the group as a whole, I want to hear what, yeah. And the other thing is the money, no, I don't spend it. You give me reserve money, it's reserve money. It goes in the savings account. We live on the budget we get, it's like living on the paycheck. Do I think I think there's opportunities for us to work cooperatively with and use some of our time on a couple of Saturdays of work. But not cheap, Google.
This will be our last question, so I'll ask each candidate to keep it to it. But yeah, this will be our last question.
I know I mentioned CTR, like I said, I didn't come with a illusion like, oh, first day, we're getting rid of CTR. I know we probably have a contract in place. Obviously, you can't break that contract unless there's very good cost. So obviously, like I said, once that comes due, then obviously either, hey, you guys, we got a better vendor over here, can you guys match the price? If not, then we're going with the other.
I don't mean to like not answer the question directly, but I feel like I don't have a good understanding of what everybody actually cares about at Addison. So that's really what I would need to do first coming in, is just get a better understanding of what people care about and like what they perceive as some of the challenges, and trying to understand if those are real challenges or if we just need more information, right, before I would really dive in. I can rattle off things I've heard. I don't know if they're, necessarily accurate. I don't have the means to truly vet them, but I've heard things like the rentals don't pay as much for their HOA fees and things like that, right? So those kinds of things, I would like to better understand, and if they're true, if there's anything we can do about it, that's the kind of stuff I'd like to dig into.
I'm in it. Okay. So to answer your question directly, I'd like to do 2 parts if I may. The first part would be to get to know the other board members, how they think, how they act as people, because they're gonna have to work very closely with them. And I don't know them. I'll just tell you up front, I didn't know that was Matt. So, I mean, point is I need to know who the rest of the team is. That would be my very first thing as a person, get to know them as a person. The second thing that I would do is start to look at this at a very high level and say, okay, I've had conversations with tons of people in the neighborhood. There's a litany of complaints that people have. Some that I think are justified, some I disagree with. That being said, is that I think it's important for us, as I said from the podium, to review the documents that govern us and be sure that that's the way we want it as a community. And to come back to your other question I didn't get a chance to answer, which I'd like to quickly, is yes, I would use every bit of technology I possibly could. And I'm a big technology guy. If you guys ever come into my house, as Chris can tell you, my desk, I've got 5 live monitors that I run from 2 separate computers simultaneously. I am a tech guy and I can utilize any bit of technology you can hope to put in front of us, right? And so that's the way that I would begin to try to overcome the apathy issue that my friend here brought up. That, folks, I would say that right now, I'm obviously not a young person, right? I've lived in lots of places. Community apathy is not something that's easily overcome. It's simply not. So expect that to be a long haul, right? That if, you know, if we're trying to manage people's expectations, that one, before we get 200 people in this room, it's going to take some time. And it's going to take reach out, and it's going to try to get involvement and all the rest of that buy-in sort of stuff that we need from the remainder of our community that's not here tonight.
So let's go on that.
Mine is also in two parts, a little more direct. On one hand, one of the biggest reasons I was very upfront that I'm here is because this year in particular, I was very upset with the FedEx and everyone's yards. I don't know what happened this year, if it was an overabundance. It wasn't the drought. I'm not talking about grass burned on the ground and dirt. I'm talking about 2 months ago when every other yard had 18-inch tall grass and weeds. I don't know what happened this year, if it was an abundance of new residents or just a contagious laziness. But what happens is it is contagious. Even myself would find that I'll do it tomorrow because everyone's yard looks like that. So that was actually one of like the very direct, acute things that kind of irritated me, because the aesthetics of our community, whether you think it or not, it is what holds our pride. It is what helps gain our empathy. It's like, look at our community, it's the next one, but we've got to group together. That's the first part. The second part is in my background, and I've gone through budgets and financial planning, I've wrote contracts. I am actually very interested in where my HOA fees go. And I walk with vendors every day. I have to send out contracts for our buildings, and you see a landscaper and you have to go through each line item. You've got an Excel sheet, it's got 109 things on it, Cleanscapes or whoever it is, and say, okay, so you are going to do this. And then as I live here, I drive around and I'm like, oh, they missed a spot. Give them a call. Cool thing too. Appreciate that. But those are the two parts that I want. I got a deep dive, and then I got a little bit of a, come on guys, we can do better. And how can I help?
I would like to see is, I would love to have speed bumps put in on ends. I think people drive way too fast. I have children, I live without children, and, you know, people are cutting through our neighborhood and driving like that's a hell, and it drives me insane. And I'm fine catching again on that people on the street when I see it happen. So I would really like to look into getting that into our neighborhood. I know that the sentiments on next door, there's been a lot of talk about getting that light at the entrance, working on that. I know that's not gonna be easy with the city. I know it's a really hard thing that you have to stay on top of. Next up. So, yeah, but it can happen, it can be done, and I would like to get that going. And it's so dangerous, and it's, I mean, I fear for my life sometimes. There's literally a lot of people that come behind me and they make me feel like I gotta go and I'm not ready to go. So, and they shoot across, you know, in the middle section. So yeah, I would like to put a light there. And one thing that's always bothered me is the large amount of renters that we have on the south side. I do notice that, renters, they don't take pride in their homes, they don't own it, they don't care. And I always look right away if someone's a renter. I can tell by the way they're behaving at the pool, the trash, go outside, and we're getting in the car, and we're throwing things into the grass. My husband's gone and picked up the trash and thrown away the stuff because they don't care, but we do. I don't want that trash there. It's where we live. So I would like to, kind of dive in and maybe build a relationship with whoever their contact person is over there and holding them a little bit more responsible for their renters. And if that takes making them part of the violation, finding them until, that they're tired of passing down their renters and they're kicking out renters, well, maybe they'll think twice about what kind of renters they're bringing in. I know I've literally had an argument with a renter at the clubhouse in the middle of my rental. So they just don't care. They're very rude. And so that'd be like another thing I'd like to look into.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up our stuff for tonight. If you guys have any additional questions, you all know how to reach me. Send my email, send it back responses, and then I'll be on that. And again, we will send out the bios for everybody who missed it on virtually or not being here. So everybody else, thank you for coming and have a good night. I will try. The last time our platform was not able to put it out there because it was not attaching. It was too long. So I will definitely try though. Cool. Thanks for coming.